You should be good.
Good shape?
Yep.
Thanks. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. All right, we'll call this December 22nd meeting of the Lawrence County Commissioners to order. Would all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a brief moment of silence. Director Mika, would you lead us in the pledge?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All please remain standing for a brief moment of silence. Thank you. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Here.
Commissioner Vogler?
Here.
Commissioner Boyd?
Here. We have quorum. I will note that we are being recorded both in terms of a live stream, which is being broadcast out to the general public. It's also a means through which the public can participate in meetings for at least the immediate future. And in fact, any member of the public wishing to make public comment at the commissioners meeting may do so by emailing me at mboyd@co.lawrence.pa.us. That comment will be entered into the official record and recorded in the minutes. On top of that, we're being recorded internally for our uses in compiling those minutes. I will also note that if I sneeze during this meeting, it is not COVID, I have allergies. Got to preface that, otherwise that'll be a next thing I know, President Judge Motto will be being called to see who he's going to replace me with.
There you go.
Row officer reports and comments. Around the room, I'm not seeing any row officers with us today. Public comments. I will note we did receive public comment from Mr. Gassman of Neshannock Township with regards to the 2020 proposed 2021 budget. I will note and I'll reiterate, just because I don't think this is the forum to dive into the intricacies revolving around the budget. If Mr. Gassman would like to call me or call the office at 724-656-2120, and I can either answer him, if I'm available in my office at the time, I'd be happy to have a conversation, or we can set a time, which I'd be happy to go through the budget line by line if he so would like. I will note that I think that budget, probably a little bit biased, is it's a large movement towards fiscal responsibility. I think with every single line item detailed, explained, everything that we can itemize, salaries put out. I mean, it's a single most transparent document that we put forth, and I think it's made great strides in moving the county back towards a fiscally sustainable position. That being said, I do think the board here is committed to fiscal responsibility, and obviously we're working every day to make sure the tax dollars are stretched as far as we can possibly stretch them. Fiscal and contractual. We have no advertising for bids or proposals, no receipt of bids or proposals, no fiscal reports, no report on quotes. We do have a warrant register from December 17th, 2020. I'll give my colleagues a minute to look that over. And I'll take a motion to accept and file the warrant register.
I did have an opportunity to look it over earlier, so I will make that motion.
Thank you. Second. Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, question on the motion. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. Next, we have approval of Tuesday, December 15th, 2020 meeting minutes. Again, I'll give my colleagues a minute to look those over and then take a motion to approve the minutes as read or as amended, as deemed necessary by the colleagues.
I did notice the resolutions for our meetings were publicized in the Newcastle News last evening.
Good.
Yes, so they were there.
Excellent. So we'll be in good shape for next year.
And I will make the motion to accept.
Second. All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, this is the motion. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. We have 2 written communications today. One is from General Electric Transportation Facility in Grove City, Pennsylvania, related to the Pennsylvania Storage Take Spill Prevention Act, which I didn't know existed until about 5 seconds ago. The letter states, as you're probably aware, which I was not, under Pennsylvania Storage Tank Spill Prevention Act, any facility with above-ground storage tanks total capacity greater than 21,000 gallons must provide an annual notice to all downstream municipalities, downstream water companies, and downstream industrial users within 20 miles of this facility. The notice includes a detailed inventory of the type and quantity of materials in storage. The General Electric Transportation Facility located in Grove City along Wolf Creek at latitude. That's actually aggressive to give latitude and longitude. Please find attached downstream notification with the material list for the facility. So in other words, this is just another act that the Pennsylvania legislature has implemented that requires us and probably other municipalities. I assume Mercer County's probably been notified of this, as well as individual local level municipalities who will be impacted by a storage tank spill.
Okay.
And next, we have notice from Frank B. Taylor Engineering, Act 14 notifications required by PADEP, prepared by Frank B. Taylor. Letter is to advise the Wilmington Township Sewage Authority has applied to the Department of Environmental Protection for a modification to the existing NPDES permit for the Orchard Terrace Sewage Treatment Plant. And then it gets into some technical details regarding that application. And I'll note also that there are numerous acts implemented by the Pennsylvania legislature which require the Board of Commissioners to be notified various applications or various land developments going on in Lawrence County.
Right.
Board of Commissioners has no authority to green light or red light any such permitting processes. They're just companies just required under the act to notify us, or in this case, authorities, township authorities are required to notify us when they apply for such permits. Any questions, comments on reports plans? I'll take a motion to accept and file.
So moved.
Second. Motion second. Is there any discussion here? None. Question on the motion. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. No proclamations or certificates today. Staff reports. Is there any member of staff here that has any report for the Board of Commissioners above and beyond what's already on the agenda? Seeing none. Commissioner reports and comments. Commissioner Vogler, you're on deck first today. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Just 2 quick items on my part. I do want to note the passing of a gentleman who was very active in the community. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, he served for a period of time on the Newcastle area school board, and that's Phil Contine. And Phil, again, was very active, sought a number of offices. I believe Phil ran for mayor at one point, and I do recall many years ago he ran for state representative. Phil was a real gentleman, so our sympathy to his family. And the only other thing is to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas and a safe holiday season. And I'll wait till next week to do Happy New Year.
Well, I think we'll all be cheering for next week, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh my gosh, and I will just reiterate the same, a safe holiday season, and do our best to stay healthy and that we could get into 2021. Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
Two-word report.
2 words. That's what we got. Up next, we have new resolutions for discussion. First up, we have Director McKinney with our planning department resolution for discussion and possible approval.
Who continues to come to work and deal with us.
I don't envy your job. Attached list of small businesses and nonprofits under Lawrence County COVID-19 Emergency Small Business Grant. Andy, what do we have going on?
So you have a list in front of you of 85, I think I counted right, 85 local businesses that applied for the emergency business grant that the commissioners put out about 2 weeks ago. I think it was December 11th, it went live. And so this was, it's a $3,000 grant, and if you're eligible, if you are a local owned dining restaurant, a movie theater, a bowling alley, a bar, or a gym. We received a little over 100 applications, online, a couple were turned in
Mhm.
to the commissioners,
To the treasurer's box.
yeah, they're box. Some were actually duplicates, so that, when I say hundring, one business submitted twice, there's a
Right.
couple of those. We did have to deny a few because, they were either a franchise or they own multiple businesses and they applied for all of them and we were only giving to one. Or they did not qualify as a dine-in restaurant, a movie theater, gym, bar, or,
Bowling
bowling
alley.
alley, so of the 102, 103, we have 85 that we're giving $3,000 for a grand total of, I think, $255,000.
All right. I will say I want to compliment the Department of Planning.
Again,
You know, the grant, I think we spun it up pretty quickly. And I know that you guys have been working with the controller's office to try to get this money out to people, you know, in some cases before Christmas.
right.
Through electronic fund transfer.
Yep.
So I'm hopeful that, you know, $3,000 isn't enough. But I'm hopeful it'll help get some of these businesses through the new year, where hopefully they're A, we open back up, and B, there's another wave of relief coming down from the federal
Right.
government for these businesses. I'll also note that each application was reviewed by the Department of Planning and Community Development, the controller's office, and then the process itself was greenlit by third-party auditors.
Yes, and we have worked really well with our controller's office. The applicants are all very grateful. They're getting back to us. I do have a list of ones that are highlighted that I can send over to Dave Prestapone as soon as this meeting's over and let them know, hey, these ones are good. They have
Right.
you can deposit their money today, tomorrow.
That's wonderful.
I also think it was pretty cool. I know, Dan, you got a call from the Erie County executive yesterday, and we've heard from Clearfield County commissioners that the program that Florence County implemented was duplicated in numerous counties across the state. So it's good to know that, you know, as small as we are driving to some degree,
Yes.
some statewide response to the new shutdown orders. But thank you, Andy, you guys did
Yes,
great work.
thank you.
No, thank you.
Very much so, yes.
Just like to add, quite honestly, the one concern I have has been addressed. My concern was, given the relatively short turnaround time that we had with this, that perhaps some of the outlying businesses might not catch it in time. But in looking over the list, you know, I see Elwood City, I see Pulaski Township, Bessemer. So the outlying areas, by and large, did get covered. So
Yes,
I'm relieved to know that.
absolutely.
We were, the planning department, I think, was aggressive in getting the messaging out related to this grant. I know, you know, it appeared in the Newcastle News, the Elwood City Ledger was sent information, Wilmington Globe was sent information. It was pushed out on social media. Last time I checked it, the grant program received around 68,000 hits on social media, just through my page and county pages. On top of that, it was pushed out through the Chamber of Commerce, the Elwood City Chamber of Commerce, the Wilmington Area Chamber of Commerce, Florence County Tourist Promotion Agency. You know, I think the advertising, it was a short period of time, but I do think the advertising effort was robust,
Yes,
as is reflected, as you mentioned, in the applicants.
In fact, and I think you both know this, I'm guessing within about 15 minutes after we rolled this out, the Elwood Chamber had a news
Yes,
release
yes,
or had
they
a
did. Yes, they
release
did.
go out. So they were right on top of
Yeah,
it.
they were.
yes.
You know, your Facebook page, and we
Right,
shared it on
we
our
shared
Facebook
everywhere.
page. So I
It-
think, yes, it was a short
Mhm.
turnaround, but the word, you know, got
It did,
spread. And,
it did.
Again, everybody's been very, very, very grateful. They're awesome, so.
Thank you guys
Yeah, you're welcome.
for fielding the phone calls. I know I got phone calls myself, and it's the easiest answer I gave. You know, let me connect you to planning. There's somebody there that'll address that.
Yeah, I mean, even I had to call someone yesterday because it was our mistake. We'd actually awarded them and we missed that they owned.
The same,
And I
right?
called and I could tell that they were disappointed, but they were understanding. I mean, it is what it is.
Right,
They're not the only
right.
ones, but they were understanding. I haven't had anybody call and yell, so I'm happy about
Good.
that. So
And it needs to be noted that we did the best we can with the information that we had on such short notice. The bottom line is we wanted to help as much as we could. If it was just a shot in the arm, chuckle. You know, that could help them out. we just did the best that we could, and we had to go on the advice of the auditors as to what would or wouldn't be eligible.
Right.
So based on all of that and getting the turnaround as quick as we are, I mean, I think it's commendable. Your office, again, did a
Thank
fabulous
you,
job.
appreciate that.
Absolutely,
Appreciate that.
absolutely, sure.
Security guards have been very helpful too. They have a folder up there for planning.
Yeah.
So they're collecting. They kept coming down like every 5, like you don't have to bring it down every time. I said, there's a folder, put everything in there. We'll check it once a day.
Right.
So they've been great too. So.
And I joked about the treasurer's office. I know somebody had contacted me and said, hey, we know the courthouse is closed, but we didn't have access to our computers. I have everything. I put it in the treasurer's Dropbox. Could you just please make sure that you get it? And it was there. It was there bright and early the next morning. So,
No, thank you guys again for everything.
Thank you.
So.
yeah, thank you.
No, it's like I say, it's a small amount in the grand scheme of things, but we hope it at least helps them get through the next couple of weeks.
Yes.
It's what we can do.
Oh, by the way, this little sticker was on mine. It may have been meant for you. Getting this back to Amy as soon as we're done, so.
Yeah, because the controller's gonna need this to, in order to process.
Very good.
But we'll make this, unless there's any objection, we'll make this resolution 2020
370.
370?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
Welcome
Thank
to
you.
Newcastle.
Amy.
You gotta take off for the next game. Next up, we have Director Hardistra with our Assessment Department for resolution for discussion and possible approval of Schneider Presbyterian Senior Care Settlement. JR, how you doing?
Not bad, yourself.
Doing all right, hanging in there.
Did I remove the mask?
What do we have going on?
Yeah, the resolution in front of you is a discussion and approval of a pilot program. A pilot program is a payment in lieu of taxes for a property that is claiming to be tax exempt. This property is the Schneider Presbyterian Senior Care. Their original facility in Wilmington Borough has already been granted tax exemption. This is an extension of their campus up the road a little bit called Stony Creek. And it's going to be what they call smart for living, independent living facilities. It is a part of their continuum of care where people will live there independently. And they applied for tax exemption to the Board of Assessment Appeals. And based off this process, the school district of Wilmington area and the county make note that the Wilmington Borough does not levy a real estate tax. So they were not a part of this because this is a real estate tax exemption. Based off of our outside counsel's experience and knowledge, they recommend us to try to get into a pilot program with them instead of trying to relitigate this and possibly end up losing a 100% tax exemption case. We applied for and negotiated a pilot program. Again, it's a payment in lieu of taxes where Schneider Presbyterian would be willing to pay 50% of their taxes based off of the assessment of only the new development. This new development has been financed, if I remember correctly, by the Lawrence County Redevelopment Authority. They help finance it.
I think municipal.
Municipal Authority. Thank you. But they are willing to pay 50% of what their taxes would be. And it's a guaranteed 5-year agreement that they would not be challenged. And there'll be a second extension of 5 years. But if there's been any substantial changes in the tax assessment law, the taxing authorities would go to a mediation, and the mediation board would decide if we had to go to trial on it. Now, if the property were to sell or convey at any time during this agreement, the agreement is null and void. Now, Solicitor Jason Medore is here. If I misspoke any of this agreement, please correct me. But based off of my knowledge, that is the nuts and bolts of this agreement.
I'm gonna ask you a couple questions as it relates to a time before I sat in this chair. When they first built their first property in Wilmington, Schneider Presbyterian Senior Care, the actual retirement home complex, the county took them to court relating to the taxation of that property, right?
Yes.
And that court case, I believe we lost that. The judge ruled against Lawrence County in that case.
That case again was
we ended up doing a pilot program with them at that time because a week before we were going to go to trial, a Supreme Court decision came down that at that time would have been detrimental to our case.
Mhm.
However, it was kind of early for them, gave us a week, and this is even prior to me being director. I got put in director 3 days before this court case. So I was learning as we were going, but based off outside counsel, who was the same counsel we used for this case, they recommended going into a pilot program.
May I clarify something?
Yes.
This occurred, what Chairman Boyd just referenced, though, occurred approximately 2004, 2005.
Yes.
So it was not the original building, which was built in the 1960s. It was when they built the addition, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, to give a little history, is the original building was built in the 60s, which was just the nursing home for the Presbyterian. Then they went ahead and created this program called a CCRC, which is a Continuing Care Retirement Center, where they have 3 different types of operations. They have an independent living, they have an assisted living, and then they have the nursing home, where the person would go through this continuum of care. They would pay to be in the independent living, but they can no longer take care of themselves. They would go into the assisted living, and then if needed, they would go into the nursing home. So the nursing home was the very first thing that was built in the 1960s, and that was what happened and why the exemption was challenged by the taxing bodies back in 2015.
Both the school district and the county.
Correct.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Would that process have started with the Board of Assessment Appeals?
Yes.
And what did the board rule at that point?
For what? In 2015?
Yes. No. Back in the early 2000s, when you first came on.
I wasn't, because it actually started before that. It was the original case in front of the board had to be in the early 2000s.
Okay.
Around 99, 2000. I was not around. I don't have any official documentation, but I'm going to assume that they denied it, which is why it went to the next step.
To court. Again, the 2 entities that were on the side of wanting to make them have to pay a tax were, of course, the school district and the county.
Correct.
Okay.
So going to 2015 then, which I assume was the most recent case that we had in Court of Common Pleas relating to Schneider Presbyterian. That was where the judge ruled against the county, correct?
Correct.
And the school district.
And the school district. He just ruled that Schneider Presbyterian, their main campus was tax exempt.
And correct me if I'm wrong, I got seasonal allergies. The same judge who ruled in that case was the presiding judge over what right now is just basically a mediation stage.
Yes. That's correct.
In other words, there would be a good chance if we were to take this before that judge, this would be again denied as he denied the county's and the school district's last case.
Correct.
And a 50% pilot program. Have you ever seen a 50% program implemented?
50% is the highest I've seen. And our outside counsel has given the same comments to me.
Okay. So that tells me our team negotiated a pretty good pilot program here. Are there any further questions from the board?
Just again, so I understand, on this latest issue, which is what we're now taking or proposing to take action on, with respect to the new buildings on South Market Street, once again, did this initiate or originate with the Board of Assessment Appeals?
Yes, we acquired the property, I believe, a couple of years ago, and then in 2019, they filed for tax exemption. Once they started their development plan, they knew what they were going to do. They filed for exemption with the board. In order to ask for exemption, you have to start at the board level. That's the administrative process. If you bypass that, I can't say the judge would, but the judge should deny and send it back down because there is an administrative process to ask for tax exemption.
What did the Board of Assessment Appeals do with that most recent filing for those new buildings on South Market Street?
They denied the request at that time.
So the Board of Assessment Appeals, correct me if I'm wrong, to the best of your recollection, has been consistent in holding that these properties should be subject to property tax. Is that correct?
That is correct,
For the school district and the county.
yes.
The only other point I'd like to make, if I may, I'd like to add a small piece of language to the resolution noting that this property is located in the borough of New Wilmington, if you'd both be agreeable to that.
Absolutely, I was sure.
Thank you. Thank you, JR.
And then Jason, I have a question for you. Would it be a conflict I was on borough council at the time this property was approved, as land development was approved. Would it be a conflict of interest if I were to vote on it?
No.
And the only other thing I will note for the record, the Wilmington Area School District has already approved this pilot program at our public meeting. And I know that was probably going to be Dan's next question to me. So, thank you for taking the mask off again.
Very kind of you.
Well, unless there's any objections from the board, we'll make this resolution 2020-371. And I know this was a culmination
Yes.
a couple of months of some hard work from your team, the special counsel and our solicitor's office. So thank you for your efforts on it.
Job well done, yes.
And then your next is resolution for discussion of possible approval of Newcastle Real Property LLC for settlement. What do we have going on here?
Okay, and Solicitor McGore has been also involved in this negotiation, so he can go ahead and chime in if he feels necessary. This is a two-building apartment complex on North Mercer Street, known as the Sussex apartment complex. They filed an assessment appeal in 2019 in front of the Board of Assessment Appeal, arguing that the market value of the property is exceeded or is less than what the fair market value is based off the assessed value. They submitted an appraisal to the record in between negotiations of the taxing body led by the school solicitor Chuck Sapienza. We've come to a compromise of a market value of $235,000. I did right before we shut down the first time, I think it was 2 days, I did a walkthrough of this apartment complex. And it is a little rundown. They do have only 40% occupancy at this time. They are attempting to renovate and occupy as many of the units as they can, but they are having a hard time finding reputable tenants. The tenants come in, don't pay, destroy the property, and then they're back at square one. So right now, they, at least at that time, they were at 40% occupancy. So the resolution in front of you is asking for a market value to be at $235,000. That is what has been negotiated between the three taxing bodies. And again, to save Dan the question, the other two have already agreed to this valuation. I will not come in front of you until the other two, or the ones lower than us, or higher than us, have already approved it.
Any questions, comments from the board?
What was the value before?
The market value on this was roughly $450,000.
I'm fine, thank you. Thanks, JR.
Make that resolution 2020-372. Thank you, JR.
Not done with it yet.
Uh-oh.
Resolution for discussion of possible approval to extend the contract with EST. We have going on.
Okay. Back in the October, November of 2019, the prior Board of Commissioners approved a project with EST called a data update project. And what this is, it's a project where they are comparing the data from the assessment office.
Yes, keep looking at me, go ahead. I think was I first?
Not first, you're the first group.
I remember that.
You remember that?
Yeah. They were comparing the data of the office
Go ahead.
with the aerial imagery to make sure everyone's data is up to date. Unfortunately, there are property owners within Morris County that don't take out building permits. One, because they just don't. One, because they don't know they have to. And this is all taxable revenue that we in the assessment office are trying to make sure everyone is paying what's called their fair share. And
The other thing I'll note that there are also municipalities in Lawrence County who are not rigorous in the collection of building permits and distribution of building permits.
Correct, and some of these municipalities don't supply them to the assessment office at all or in any timely fashion. So this project is to make sure our data is up to date as possible, so that again, everyone is paying their fair share. We signed it in October, it was supposed to be a 1-year contract. COVID kind of put a little bit of a delay on this. So they're asking for an extension to go ahead and complete, no additional charge, just time to go ahead and complete the project. I did get some statistics, as of right now. The project had them reviewing between 11 and 15,000 parcels.
How many parcels are there in Lawrence County?
We have roughly 56,000 parcels. So right now, they have done just about 6,500 parcels they have reviewed, and we're just shy of an assessment change of about $10 million, $9.8 million. That is about $83,000 in unreported revenue that we have collected 2019 through our billing, and that now we're going to collect again in 2021.
How much was the total cost of the contract?
$150. So it's already paid for itself based off this too. And this is only halfway through the project, a little less than halfway through. So we are going to more than pay for the project, just to let them have time to complete it.
Okay.
And you may have noted it, forgive me if it went over my head, but this process in identifying these properties ultimately not only benefits the county, but perhaps even more importantly, the school districts in the county and the various municipalities in which these properties are located. Is that correct?
It definitely benefited the school districts and the few municipalities that adopted the interim billing, because they got revenue right away.
Yes.
Those ones that did not, it benefits them, but a little lesser extent because they got to wait till the next billing year to receive any of the revenue. But every school district in Lawrence County, excluding Blackhawk, because they only have that one borough in Union Valley, has adopted interim billing, so they are receiving this revenue right away as well.
Thank you.
So.
Any other questions from the board?
Well, and I'll just comment, because I don't know if either of you have gotten phone calls or not, or just questions on it. People that get that interim bill or they get that notice. It happened to me. It did, and innocently enough done. You built a deck on the back of the house and didn't think twice about it. And like you said, started in Hickory Township, and that's just it. You got the new value, and you also have the right to the appeal process. I have had different people contacting me from different areas. I know that it is still going on and happening because I did get a phone call or two last week. And I explained it to them because the misconception is that we are having an assessment, a reassessment being done. And I know that was, headlines, and people were confused even before, Morgan and I, before we were even elected, I think, or sworn in. I attended some meetings where it came up at, and I think it was voted on prior to us coming in, but an excellent program. And at the same time, a person does have the right to an appeal, and it is not a total county reassessment. It is those properties, and I explained it just like an overlay. If this is what your, picture looks like, and it should look like this, but it looks like this, then you need to get something done, i.e. just like with mine, with the extension on the deck. So it's as simple as that, but again, you have the right to appeal it if you wanted to. So just to clarify that, because that is the one question that did come up most recently.
One of the biggest complaints we've gotten isn't about the program itself, but the timing. Unfortunately, adopted it
Yes.
in October, and they didn't have the crystal ball to see the pandemic was happening.
Correct.
So people were trying, well, how can you do this during a pandemic? And unfortunately, we explained this was adopted prior.
Right.
We started it, we're gonna finish it through, but we, like Commissioner Spillwell said, the property owners do have the right to appeal their assessment increase. And I don't want to just say increase, because people have seen decreases in their assessments as well, because they have maybe knocked down a garage or knocked down a building, but they don't notify the office.
Yes.
Or they don't take out their demolition permit through their municipality, so we're not aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a way, so not everyone got increases, some people got decreases.
Yes.
All right. Any additional questions or comments? Thank you. We will make that resolution 2020-373. And JR, you might have already mentioned this. How long is the contract extension for?
It's gonna be through 2021, but we anticipate getting done sooner than later, but
You just
Just in
don't know,
case.
you don't know, correct.
what happens, they just wanna make sure they have it.
Okay, sounds good. And
Thank
you're welcome to stick around for voting if you want. I feel like you're pretty safe on all three of these.
Yeah,
I'm on vacation, so I'm going.
Sounds good.
okay.
Merry
I'm
Christmas.
teach kindergarten.
Oh, my God.
Everyone have a happy holiday and Merry Christmas.
Yes.
Thank you,
I know
JR.
you
Merry
also,
Christmas, yes,
Happy New Year.
Thank you.
yes.
See you. We'll see you.
Up next, we have our budget amendment portion of the program. First up, we have a budget amendment from the district attorney's office.
Mr. Chairman, forgive my interruption.
Yes.
If you don't mind, is Mr. Miko here for a transfer of some sort?
I got item under 12B, C, D, F, G, and H. Well, actually, B, C, D, and H. CYS has the other two.
You want to do those first?
If you're so willing, so he doesn't have to wait that whole time, but
Yeah,
that's, it's up to you folks.
I have no issue with that.
No, not a problem at all,
Thank you.
no problem at all.
But he'll have to repeat which ones, because I wasn't
Oh, it's all right.
focused on which ones you have.
12B it starts with. I won't do, try to do them all at once either. I won't do them all at once.
You know, I got confused last time.
That was me.
No, that was me, believe me. I think my brain cells were pumping at less than full speed that day.
Now you know how I feel.
All right, what do we have going on?
Under 12B, we have a transfer from a contingency account into office equipment. Some of the purpose of this is to adhere to the pandemic protocol for the office. So we need a couple laptops that are going, so we transferred that money in there. Plus the 250 we transferred. That's a vehicle expense, which if anyone wonders why vehicle expense is so low, is we're only going out where we need to go. We're
Right.
not transporting to and from
Mhm.
placements. We're really reducing those numbers that are coming in. It's good for the money side, but it comes on the other side when I'm addressing 12H for you, and we'll explain that. But there's this has really caused erratic changes in some of our budgeting side. I commend you for trying to figure all that out as you went through there, because it was actually pretty good when I looked at it. And you have that initial reaction, but that's kind of off kill. But we're transferring that amount, which equates to $2,750 for both items. So I went ahead again. I went ahead and did vehicle expense of the 12C.
Sorry, I'm able to keep up this time. I got full speed today.
Contingency to office equipment, and that's for the same thing. And then just to take from vehicle expense, we know we're gonna be good through December, to equipment maintenance to cover the additional costs that we didn't anticipate under equipment maintenance for the year. And that's it for those. Any questions on B?
No.
C? Just call them once.
Mhm.
Then we move on to, it looks like D.
Yes.
That's the same thing. We have to basically, we had a transfer in that never went through, and Dave asked us to put another one through Staples so that we had enough, and that was 500. We put one through, we thought in October, and Dave has to specify as no record. So what we're doing is kind of repeating it, and he said he would have got it by now, so something must have happened, and maybe we anticipated it went through, and nobody came down to a meeting from our office, so you kind of put it on hold, but, so we're redoing it to make sure that the money's back in the Staples account.
Gotcha.
And that'd be 12D.
Okay.
So then we skip to, if you don't mind, 12H. And that's a transfer from JPO institution of $40,000 to purchase a service via in-home and community-based. It sounds like a lot of money. It's already budgeted. That $40,000, we actually switched it from institution. We have over $300,000 of unspent money this year because of the reduction in placement, the
Right.
reduction in referral.
And-
That transfer's in-house, so it's just going from one line item to another, and we save 20%. If we do use it, it's a 80-20 match.
I was about to say, that comes out of the CYS budget.
That comes out.
It does not come out of general fund.
Correct, and they had two before that, and I don't wanna speak to them for them, but I imagine it's probably on the same. If it gives you any peace of mind, it's already budgeted money, just
Right.
moving it from one to the other to cover what we have, because we try to match up a county calendar year of 12 through December,
It's not easy.
which is the county budget, and the state year, which program year runs July 1st through June 30th.
The other interesting thing there is because of the savings in these programs, we were actually able to decrease the cost. The county contribution to CYS, because there's money in these accounts, we were able to
Right.
roll over from 2020 to 2021, which is always a good thing.
That is it.
All right. I don't think we have any questions.
No,
I'm fine.
You're in good shape, Pat. Thank you.
thank you so much.
This is what I did for Dave as a copy, that's why I covered my mouth here. That's the account we have that we're short of money, so if there's something that's needed, or anybody falls short, or you guys do what you want, but if Dave has a transfer, just put the other account in, and if I have to show up, I will.
Gotcha. Thank you.
All right. See, Merry Christmas to everyone.
Merry Christmas, Pat. Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Stay safe, stay
Thank you.
healthy.
Thanks again, Mr. Chairman.
Absolutely. Thank you for pointing that out and accommodating,
Yes.
allowing us to
very
accommodate
good.
that. But next, I will say this about Pat. He's always very, very thorough,
He is,
to a T.
yes,
I can appreciate that about
yes, he is.
Pat. Up next, we have, we'll make this is the objection resolution 2020-374, which relates to a transfer of funds, or not transfer, I'm sorry, an increase in the amount of funds in the district attorney's budget. We received more monies this year for our stop grant. This increases the amount in the revenue account by $1,500 for the stop grant, as well as increases the office minor equipment by $1,500. Questions, comments? Up next, we have, there are some expenses that we have to pay in different areas of the general fund budget. This is moving some money from contract assessment services, which we had a significant an underage in terms of budget utilization, to tax claim equipment maintenance and repair, tax claim equipment maintenance and repair for direct image, CYS equipment, lease and rental, house arrest monitoring for APO, and DA for Staples. The total amount is $32,229 and some change. Questions, comments?
No.
I'll make that resolution 2020-375. Next up, out of the solicitor's office, we have $565 from Commissioner's contingency to solicitor subscriptions and books. This covers some subscription costs and legacy subscription costs that we're working to get out of the contract with, but it's Solicitor Leslie had hard copies of a lot of the applicable legal books sent to the office. Solicitor Door primarily operates online. It doesn't need
Hard copies.
those hard copies, so that cost is going to be eliminated eventually. This is just covering that gap. So we'll make that resolution 2020-376. Unless there's any objections. Up next, human resources. We have $2,496.14 transferring from court-appointed attorneys, which again is significant underutilization of the budget in that line item, to the COBRA account, which is basically it covers insurance for employees who have retired. Ultimately, they pay
Right,
for that insurance. The county does not provide insurance. Yeah, the county does not provide insurance in any way, shape, or form to county retirees out of county tax dollars. We just have a little bit more flowing through this year, and this adjusts the budget to allow for it to flow. Make that resolution 2020-377. Bless you. Not COVID. I think I said seasonal allergies. Up next, we have a resolution, again, various offices for court-appointed attorneys, and again, that specific line item in the general fund budget, there is a significant underutilization to, I would say, over $100,000 because the courts were shut down.
right.
They didn't have the need for as many court-appointed attorneys as we so thought. Transferring to VA, HR, and prothonotary, just for various different purposes. Questions, comments? Make that resolution 2020-378. Up next, out of the Commissioner's office, we have a transfer of $500,000 from our contingency to miscellaneous allocations. This is largely reimbursed CARES dollars, and the transfer is utilized, is for coverage for the county's various COVID-19 emergency programs that we launched over the past couple of weeks, including the small business grant, or the emergency grant program, our rental subsidy program that's up and running through LCAP. And yeah, those are the two. Make that resolution 2020-379. And then we have $10,000 from Commissioner's contingency to JPO office minor. Again, this assists that office with purchasing some more supplies to better enable them to work from home. Questions, comments on any of those fund transfers? Hearing none, make that resolution 2020-380. As has been our practice, we'll go through the administrative transfers. I'll take a motion to make the administrative transfers a second. We'll vote on it. From there, we'll go to amend the budget and go through the actual numbered resolutions. Does that sound like a plan?
Sounds like a plan.
So we're gonna start on item 12, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Please start. I'll be right back. Don't wait for me. I'll get caught up.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
First up, we have $1,000 in tax claim office, $1,000 for contracted consultants to equipment maintenance and repair. I guess this is covering telephone costs. I don't know why it's going to equipment maintenance and repair. Just make the transfer and hope for the best.
It'll get where it needs to be.
Somehow we'll funnel that. If there's an issue, we'll do another transfer next week. Up next, we have some additional JPO. Nick already went over those in the amount of $2,750. Miko went over the vehicle expense and staples, tax claim, advertising materials and supplies, $1,000 for posting notices. CYS, there is a substantial amount of money being transferred interfund relating to purchase services, relating to rent expense, relating to cost allocation. Actually, a lot of this money is going to come back to the county under this specific one. Just because cost allocation and rent expense are paid to the county, they just need more money to give back to us.
Right.
Coroner, he's moving $500 from office minor to travel and training. Money needed to purchase new forensic pathology and medical legal textbooks. It's the first time I've ever seen that term on paper.
Yes.
Maintenance. Miscellaneous administrative to liquid fuels, maintenance and repair. This is interfund liquid fuels, cover the cost of power washing the bridges, which they actually look, I've seen some
They look
pictures, they look
nice.
beautiful.
Very
One
nice.
on McConnell's Mill.
Yes. Very nice.
Dan, did we power wash any bridges other than the one at McConnell's Mill?
I believe the one on
Yep.
South Avenue. Is
Yes.
that your recollection? Yeah, South Avenue.
We're on the transfer for maintenance and the liquid
Right.
fuels budget, which covers those power washes.
Jay,
Yes.
thank you.
This next one is for the controller's office. I guess, we're hitting an incident with those 27, this year, I want to say every 7 years or so, it's 27th pay
Yes.
period, just based on the way the calendar
Yes.
year works. I tried to adjust what I could at the beginning, probably June,
Yes.
July area. However, obviously, you have staff movements, there's a certain amount of unpredictability when it comes to a 27th pay period that was previously unbudgeted. But this transfers over some dollars to cover the costs of that 27th pay period with regards to staff salaries. Oh, and the other thing is the controller's office had a substantial amount of retirements, which in
Right.
turn required different retirement payouts. Commissioners, funds needed to pay an invoice at the request of the controller. This is, I believe, our public safety office purchased some more COVID supplies So this is an interfund transfer that allows us to pay for those supplies through the office. It's through the COVID fund, but it was purchased on behalf of the Office of Public Safety. Courts, we,
Forgive me, is this the one, the $44,220?
yes,
Yes.
So I'm guessing, and I don't need to nitpick, but here they've crossed out on the left. Am I to assume that one of these 4220 should be crossed out
Yes.
since down at the bottom it's 4220?
yes. And the reason for that is originally it was gonna come out of a general fund account.
Okay.
This is coming out of the COVID account, which is a separate bank account, separate process, separate everything. It's a hell of a lot easier just to
Do that.
do fund transfer than it is to try to bounce money across accounts.
Thank you.
Courts, they need $100 for uniforms with them.
Okay.
Courts, they're moving $2,000 from transcripts to subscriptions. I guess there was some increased subscription costs incurred by the courts this year. They do spend a lot of money in subscription costs. Contingency account for the district attorney's office. This is just paying out some outstanding bills relating to travel expense for prisoners. The district attorney transports prisoners, he incurs costs. This he's taking some money out of his contingency account to cover that cost. This is, again, an additional transfer relating to COVID materials purchased by the Office of Public Safety relating to some testing capabilities at that office. I think that's all we have for administrative fund transfers. Am I missing anything? Any questions, comments, concerns, issues on any of those administrative transfers? I will take a motion, and again, it's not COVID. I will take a motion to approve administrative transfers A through T.
So moved.
Second.
A motion second, is there any discussion here? None, question on the motion. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. Give the controller some work to do over the holidays.
Uh-huh.
Up next, I will take a motion to amend the agenda to allow for voting on resolutions 2020-370 through 2020-380.
So moved.
Second.
During a motion second, is there any discussion? Hearing none, question on the motion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same sign, motion carries. We'll go through these as expeditiously as possible. Resolution 2020-370, now to do with all by Lawrence County Board of Commissioners, the attached list of small businesses and nonprofits have been allocated $3,000 for the Lawrence County COVID-19 Emergency Small Business Grant pending the receipt of their grant certification form by December 28, 2020. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second, is there any discussion? Hearing none, questions on the motion, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 2020-371, now to be resolved by Lawrence County Board of Commissioners, the agreement with Schneider Presbyterian Senior Care be executed and signed by the Board of Commissioners. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
The motion is second, is there any discussion? Hearing none, question on the motion, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 2020-372, now therefore be resolved by Lawrence County Board of Commissioners, the County of Lawrence approves the compromise settlement with the properties designated by parcel ID 02-267600, which will have market value of $235,000 pursuant to the consent order. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, question on the motion. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 2020-373, now therefore be resolved by Lawrence County Board of Commissioners, data update project contract shall be amended in the order for EST to complete the project. It also authorizes Commissioner Chairman to sign all documentation relating to the contract extension. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
The motion is second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, question on the motion. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 2020-374, now that we resolved by Lawrence County Board of Commissioners to amend the 2020 Lawrence County budget as follows. We are increasing the DA fund revenue account stock grant by $1,500 and increasing DA fund expense account minor equipment by $1,500. They're purchasing a computer through the stock grant. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, question on the motion. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 2020-375, now that be resolved by Lawrence County Board of Commissioners, authorization is hereby given to the appropriate administrative officials transfer a total of $32,229.47 described in detail on the attachment designated T-2020-026. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 2020-376, now be resolved by Lawrence County Board of Commissioners, authorization is hereby given to the appropriate administrative officials transfer a total of $565, described detail attached designated T-2020-027. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second. A motion second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 2020-377, authorization, now be resolved by Lawrence County Board of Commissioners, authorization is hereby given to the appropriate administrative officials transfer a total of $2,496.14, described detail attached designated T-2020-028. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 2020-378, now therefore be resolved by Lawrence County Board of Commissioners, authorization is hereby given to the appropriate administrative officials transfer a total of $5,832.82, described detail on the attachment designated T-2020-029. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 2020-379, now resolved by Lawrence County Board of Commissioners, authorization is hereby given to the appropriate administrative official transfer a total of $500,000, described detail on the attachment designated T-2020-030. Again, this is related to county COVID-19 response programs. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 2020-380, now therefore be resolved by Lawrence County Board of Commissioners, authorization is hereby given to the appropriate administrative officials transfer a total of $10,000, described detail on the attachment designated T-2020-031. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. That concludes the resolution section of the agenda. Just to reemphasize the point, it's not COVID, it's not cold, it's just allergies. I gotta take an Allegra. Up next, we have ordinances. Nothing on the table. There is an ordinance for introduction that was duly advertised in the Newcastle News. This will be tabled until December 29th, 2020, where final action will be taken. But the ordinance is ordinance number 4 of 2020, which is an ordinance for the implementation of a fee for local use as provided by 75 PACS, section 1935, allowing county to impose a county fee of $5 for each non-exempt vehicle registered to an address within the county borders. Act 89, which is implemented by the state legislature a number of years ago, allowed for a fee for use to be levied by counties to fund different transportation projects in county boundaries. I think, one of the things that Lawrence County right now needs, as well as the state of Pennsylvania and across the United States, is infrastructure funding. This, based on my projections, would raise, just through residential vehicles registrations, about $330,000 a year that we could utilize towards assisting municipalities with paving projects, utilized for our own bridge improvement projects, utilized to help municipalities improve their bridges. It provides some, I think, much needed infrastructure funding for Lawrence County, and specifically it should be noted under Act 89, we're only allowed to use it in the same manner which we use liquid fuel. So it's specific to transportation projects. I'll note on my way into work today, I quickly Googled how many other counties participate in the program. There are currently 24 participating counties, including our neighbors in Beaver and Butler. And I'll note that Butler actually just recently used the funding that they generate from this local use fee to pay for significant project improvements or roadway improvements in the Seven Fields Cranberry area. They were actually able to successfully use some of these funds to get matching grants to fund. I want to say it's tens of millions of dollars worth of transportation funding through federal build grants and other opportunities for the southern portion of their county. So they're putting it to good use in Butler County. Other counties in southwest Pennsylvania that implement this user fee include Allegheny County, Westmoreland County, and Greene County. So if we were to implement this fee, more than half of the counties in southwest Pennsylvania at that point will have implemented this fee. I also want to note that the fee itself breaks down to about 42 cents per month per vehicle. And quite frankly, it allows us to assist municipalities in paving more roads, and allows us to assist municipalities in fixing more bridges. But I will open it up for discussion. Does any member of the board have a question or comment?
I just wanted to comment as well, because I had mixed thoughts on imposing an additional fee, but breaking it down the way that you did cost-wise. And when you talk about future plans, or, you know, looking into what we can do as a whole to help the county out, and using these dollars for those purposes to help fund additional road pavings, or, you know, smaller, you know, bridge reconstructions or things like that. I think that when you weigh the cost of it compared to what we can do with it, and as far as what we are attempting to do and wanting to do in the years to come, to work with the communities with the blight eradication, and you know, beautifying the different areas of the county. I know I said before about the bridges, if there's more that we can do with them to make them you know, part of a recreation program somehow, and enhance what they have there in the outlying areas, you know, help with the accessibility of different areas. I think that could do nothing but be a positive for the county as a whole. So that's my basis for it, and being able to impose a minor fee like that, I think it certainly could go a long way.
Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Vogler?
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, I'm going to be the one to express opposition to this proposal. As noted, this law has been on the books for 7 years, and Mr. Boyd is correct that 24 counties have implemented it, which means that 43 counties have not, including Mercer County to our north. During my time as a commissioner, I've only had one local elected official approach me to urge consideration of this. And we have over 100 local township supervisors, borough council members, and if you incorporate the members of city council as well here in Newcastle. So there has not been people beating down our doors from the municipalities asking us to implement this. I would also note that one of the primary means by which the Commonwealth raises funds for road maintenance is the gasoline tax, part of which does come back to us, as you noted, with respect to liquid fuels. And our gasoline tax is one of the highest in the Commonwealth, or in the country. The evidence of that is when you drive into neighboring states and you see how much lower the cost of gasoline is. I would also note that, and again, it was alluded to here just a few minutes ago, that the county does receive every year a liquid fuel allocation. The primary purpose of those dollars is to take care of, to maintain, and at certain times repair or even replace the 27 bridges that we are responsible for. We've noted many, many times, Lawrence County does not own or maintain any streets or roads whatsoever. That is the responsibility of either PennDOT or the local city, borough, or township. So I would accept the argument that yes, these dollars could be utilized for the 27 bridges that we're responsible for, but I would also make the argument that we already have a funding stream in effect that does just that. And both this board and prior boards, I would argue, have been good stewards of those dollars. Just look at the condition of those 27 bridges. By and large, they're in very good condition, and the ones that aren't, we're preparing to address. I would also then note that in most years, including this year, we've had enough revenue in the liquid fuel accounts that we have been able to supplement local municipalities for some of their bridge and road projects. We haven't been able to do that every year, but in the majority of the years, we've been able to help them. And since maintenance of local roads is the responsibility of the local city, borough, or township, they have a mechanism by which they can help themselves, and that's their property tax. If they have a need for significant road repair, they have the capability of adjusting their property tax accordingly to cover those costs that affect the roads for which they are responsible. I understand the point of view that $5 isn't a whole lot of money when you spread it out over a 12-month period. You're absolutely right. But I think when you factor in every thing that I've just pointed out, and the fact that we're paying a very, very high gasoline tax here in this state, I cannot bring myself to support this. If we were running a deficit in our liquid fuel account, if we were having trouble taking care of our bridges, I'd be for this. But we have sufficient funds, I would argue, to take care of our bridges and assist municipalities, at least in a supplemental way. So thank you both very much.
Absolutely. I guess the only thing I'd mention to that is in my interactions with the public, and I always stress to them, we don't own the roads.
That's it.
But in my interactions with the public, one of the number one complaints that I think that members of the public have are
Fix the roads.
fix the roads, fix the roads, fix the roads. And to the extent that, we do have an exceptionally high gas tax here, that I think that point is well taken. And quite frankly, I think the Commonwealth needs to do a better job utilizing that exceptionally high amount of revenue generated through that gas tax to make infrastructure improvements around the state. I think, again, my experiences here, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania is not the best run entity that I've ever had the pleasure of interacting with. So, in my mind, in the event that the Commonwealth gets to a point where they're better able and more efficiently able to allocate infrastructure funding to address the needs of Lawrence County and address the needs of Pennsylvania, I'll be the first vote to repeal this. But until such time, I think that in the grand scheme of things, I think 42 cents a month per vehicle to generate roughly $330,000 a year in revenue for transportation projects, to me is an acceptable price to pay. And I want to get out there. I want to help our municipalities pave some more roads, and I want to help improve infrastructure in the county. But your points are very well taken.
Absolutely.
That being said, and considering this is only the fourth time we've run across an ordinance, is the appropriate, I'm gonna lean on your expertise here, is the appropriate mechanism to take a motion to place the ordinance on the table?
That's correct. In fact, one of the things I asked the solicitor to check in on, and he graciously did so. I wasn't certain if the law required any type of a public hearing in advance of us voting. Your research showed that we are not obligated by law to have a public hearing.
That's correct.
Okay.
All you need to do is make a motion to introduce. It would be immediately introduced and tabled. You don't even need to do a full vote to introduce and table. You just need a motion to introduce. If somebody gives the motion, it's introduced and tabled.
Oh, all right.
May I ask a clarification question? For sake of assumption, how would that work? Let's assume that two of us were not in favor of this. Are you saying that one commissioner could make a motion to introduce it and then it would be considered a week from now?
Yes.
So in this case, you're saying the minority rules.
Well, it's not a final vote. It's just to introduce and give the opportunity to vote on it.
Okay, I understand that.
Yeah.
But only the minority of the board has the authority to do that.
It only takes one person to introduce and table an ordinance.
Huh. Okay.
I didn't know that.
Understanding that a week from now, possibly, it'll be brought up for a formal vote,
Yep.
at which time the majority will rule.
Then you would need to take a vote, which is a full vote to take it off the table.
Yes.
And then you would need to take a full vote for inaction.
Okay. I'm glad you're here today.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
If you've stumped Dan, that's,
Procedure.
mark this down, right? Because you're the.
No.
And we follow Robert's Rules of Orders here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now that being said, I think I still will take a motion and a vote to put it on the table, just because that's kind of what we've always done. I think we'll reassess that in 2021. I need to go through Robert's rules, quite frankly, because I guarantee you there are things I do in these meetings that don't follow Robert's rules.
I haven't seen anything yet.
You've done.
Yeah.
But Jason knows them so well, he calls them Bob's rules.
But I guess I'll take a,
That gets better the more you think about it.
I'll take a,
So moved. I will make that motion.
all right, I'll second that. Place ordinance number 4 of 2020
Number
on the table for display, consideration, et cetera.
Yes. Did we do that correctly? Did we have to make a motion to introduce it?
Make a motion to introduce and table, yes.
To say, I will correct.
Right.
And I will make the motion to introduce and table ordinance 2020-04.
There we go. I'll second that. Questions or further discussion on the motion? Hearing none. The question is on the motion. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler,
No.
Commissioner Boyd.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We have no ordinances for final action. The next regularly scheduled Commissioners meeting is 10 a.m. on Tuesday, December 29th, for the Commissioners meeting room. I got this one.
I'm just gonna write you a little note.
I got this one.
Even the allergies can't hold you back.
No, I finally was helping. I finally remember. Maybe it was get the day off. I will note that at that meeting, we will be adopting the 2021 Lawrence County budget finally. But I also will note that on December 24th and December 25th, do we get the Monday off?
Yes,
too?
we do.
Oh,
What is that, 28th?
Yes, sir.
yes.
And December 28th, so that's Thursday through Monday, the courthouse will be closed in celebration of Christmas. And county business will resume the following Tuesday. So in other words, if you have any county business that needs attention, I'll note that while people still can't access the building, if you need to call in for any services, please do so by tomorrow, because the complex will be closed Thursday through Monday.
And the authority meetings were tomorrow or were they last week? Oh my goodness, I have a brain freeze.
I'm just going to assume we don't.
We don't have any.
Anything on the calendar for tomorrow?
Okay, they were last week.
Yeah, if they do
Or
have them,
maybe they were next week, but
and if they do have them, they'll be duly
Zoom,
advertised in
right.
the Newcastle News.
Yes.
If there are any additional public comments, they will be recorded. I'm gonna go upstairs and check my emails, and if I see anything from anyone, it will be recorded and entered into the minutes. And on that note, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. Motion is second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Everyone have a Merry Christmas.
Yes.
And we will be back for your viewing pleasure next week.
Wait for Joe to
Hit the red button.
Red button. Red buttons.
red buttons.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
You old enough to remember?
Yeah, I remember.
He was in the movie The
Yeah,
Poseidon
I know
Adventure.
his head.
Was it?
The Poseidon Adventure. Yeah, he was in that movie.
Yeah.